It's a great day as Jason has his fan
I'm going to need my fan for this segment.
Yes, you will. It's time for Rekha's voice. Rekha Basu from the Des Moines Register in studio with us right now as we discuss things that are in her column. And today is one that I'm sure a lot of people have heard of.
Well, I think probably that's true. So my column today is about Nancy Sebring, who was the former Des Moines school superintendent until 2012. And she had actually left to take a job to go to Omaha to be the district superintendent in Omaha. But then right on the eve of her departure, some emails surfaced that turned out that had been written, and I think there's one
That's one of them. Blacked out in certain areas. This is all based on a reporter who wanted to know about this new lady coming into Omaha, knew nothing about her, was going to be running their school system, so did some investigating and requested her public emails, and just happened to come across some that were interesting.
So these were emails that had been written on an office email account. That means the Des Moines School District email account, and I think probably on an office computer for some time, and over a span of time. And they were very sexually explicit emails involving a relationship she was having with a man. And you know what made, okay, that's the man, I guess.
Yep,
and
that's him.
What made it more salacious was that she was married and he was married, although her husband was in Colorado. So, I mean, long story short, there are a lot of details to this story, but she left abruptly. She left Des Moines schools abruptly before her scheduled departure date. And a Freedom of Information request was put in by the Des Moines Register and probably also the Omaha World Herald to find out why, what was the backstory to why she was leaving suddenly. The Des Moines School Board spun it as if it was just because she had some personal business to take care of. Her daughter was getting married and she was busy. But there was a closed session meeting that they refused to divulge the minutes of or tell us what had gone on inside, saying that it was personnel matters, right before that resignation was announced. And it turns out that the school board was confronting her about these very steamy emails that were exchanged between her and this man. Now, skip forward. She resigned from the post in Omaha because of the scandal, and so she has, as far as I know, been unemployed since then. And she sued the Des Moines School District for, well, I don't know how much she originally sued for, but I think it was over $1 million for emotional distress and invasion of privacy and various other things. And the case dragged on for 2 years, and finally her insurance company decided to settle it for $350,000. Not her insurance company, the school board's insurance, to settle it with her for $350,000. Now, this is provoking understandable outrage, although taxpayers in the Des Moines School District will only be paying about $50,000 of that because that's the deductible that you pay to the insurance company. The insurance company will pay the rest of it. And it was purely the insurance company's decision to settle because the school district felt that it had a good case and could have won in court, but they just didn't want to, insurers didn't want to drag it on and said it would have cost more and legal fees, all of this. So this is the backdrop to all of this. So I think on the one hand that there is understandable outrage at the fact that someone who was culpable, who did wrong, is walking away with a certain amount of, you know, she'll only get about half of that money, $175,000 after attorney fees and all of that. Because really the school district didn't do anything that not only it couldn't do under the law, but that it shouldn't have done, which is when they were asked for these emails, they had to turn them over under public records law. They had an obligation to do that. I guess my question in today's paper, and this is a bit of a turnaround for me because I haven't always felt this way. My question is, was there really a legitimate news value in the newspapers releasing those emails in all of their explicit detail, which has forever made her a woman wearing the letter A for adulterer? And quite frankly, the kind of destruction and that shaming can do to women in particular when it has anything to do with sexual activity is huge. And you are hearing more and more stories now about people ending their lives or young high school students being shamed because of some sexting thing that went viral. Or Monica Lewinsky gave a very compelling TED talk recently about the kind of shaming that was done of her when she was, after she was a 22-year-old intern at the White House. She said, I made mistakes, but you know, the at the names that she was called and the kind of scorn and ridicule that was heaped on her. Her name is now synonymous with, you know, sexuality, and she can never escape that. And it's the same thing, quite frankly, with Nancy Sebring. She is never going to be able to escape that reputation. And she has, if you can Google her name, I mean, 20 years from now, this will always turn up, and it will plague her, and it has destroyed her career prospects.
I had never read them. I found them yesterday. Easily.
You found them yesterday.
Within seconds.
Right, exactly. And I mean, you know, you would describe them as pretty
Parts of them are very steamy.
It didn't help that it came out around 50 Shades of Grey time. Like,
did it? Oh, when the book was coming out.
When
That's
the book
right.
was coming out. Like,
That's right.
It was all kind of coming out at the same
but
time.
When you ask this question, you're really asking this question of people you work with. Because,
yes, I am.
Yeah.
I am asking this question to people. And, you know, I haven't fully read it, but there is an editorial right next to mine which takes a different position, which thinks that, you know, the Register was right to release those emails because she had done it was part of her office email account, and so it's therefore in the public record. And I guess my feeling is, you know, is it really necessary to savage people to that extent, to shame them? Because you know, I mean, let's be thoughtful about this. You know what's going to happen to someone after that stuff goes public. You know, that's the end of their life in some ways. They're going to have to suffer from that humiliation forever.
I technically don't think she did anything wrong, but I don't understand why it would have been so easy to use a personal account to send, like, what was going, like, I've heard she's a wonderful, intelligent person, and I do not knock her for having a sexual life. But come on, you're the head of all of our school system in Des Moines. Would you not go to a personal phone, a personal server to send out these emails that were so explicit and personal?
That's a very good question, and I posed it to a school board member who was very close to her. And what she said, and this kind of makes sense, is that Nancy Sebring lived on her in her work. I mean, she was night and day, she was doing it. She was always on computers, she was always emailing, and so she started to use the same email account for everything because there was no real dividing line between her work time
so
and
then
her
we should
personal
forgive
time.
Hillary Clinton for using the same device.
I mean, I suppose that is
national security information.
Well,
because
that's
her work
different.
was her life, and
that is, I mean, and that argument could be made, but I think you have to be much more careful when you're dealing with national security information in the interests of the nation. Now, Sebring should have been more careful in her own interests, but I'm sure it never in a million years occurred to her that any of this was going to come out. And, you know, of course it would. So, yes, it was stupid. Yeah, of course not. I mean, don't you? We all use our office email.
Someone could right now, because of the company we work for, say, I want access to her public emails off of my computer.
Yeah.
And they have the right to ask for that.
That's
true. I need to be a smart individual and know if I'm sending something out, anybody could see it. So I'm not going to send personal information like that on my work computer.
No, but until it's happened to you, I guess you don't realize how easy it is for that to happen.
To be clear, the school board saw it first, and then the paper.
Yes.
After the meeting, the paper requested.
Yes, the school board saw it first, and they suggested she advance her resignation because of that. And so she did that, and then the paper wanted information about why she was advancing her resignation.
So did an IT guy did something trip some filter somewhere, some naughty word?
They were looking for, I guess that was when the newspaper in Omaha that she was going to wanted to know something about her background, and there was some, there was some verbiage, and they did a search of her emails, and then these things turned up, and they came to the attention of the Des Moines School District, who then suggested she leave early.
Gotcha.
But I guess the larger issue, and yes, I mean, I completely get that she was doing wrong, that it was stupid and careless, and that she doesn't deserve, technically speaking, to walk away with a large sum of money from, the Des Moines School District for something that she brought on herself. I get all of that. I also think there was an element of glee among people seeing her brought down in this way because she made some very controversial decisions as the school district superintendent. She laid off people. She hired her sister and her sister's boyfriend. She negotiated a really sweet deal for herself that nobody else gets financially. And I mean, that's also because the school board was playing lackey to her. They were just going along with everything she said, so they didn't exercise the proper oversight over her. I get all of that. I was not a fan of hers, and this is why I had mixed feelings about it when it happened. There was a sense of, okay, she's getting what's coming to her. But I don't know.
Sense of vengeance.
A sense of vengeance. A lot of people had that because she was so thoroughly disliked and she destroyed a number of people's careers and all of that. I still think this is a different category, and we have to be thoughtful about it. We have to be thoughtful about how we really can be destroying a human being by putting stuff like that out there. And there still is a lot of sexism in our world where if you put that stuff out just about a man, it would not have the same kind of impact that it does on women, because sexual shaming is a blood sport that's really being played out with women's lives.
Have you read all the emails?
Yeah.
Jason just ran across some of them.
I
right?
skimmed them, and it's hard.
I have absolutely no interest in looking at them whatsoever. They don't even pique my interest. That's her business. Leave it alone.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's an argument that could be made. Now,
Sure.
Jason, what does it say about you that you waited a year and now you're looking at it?
I agree. Well, no, I don't deny that. I do feel kind of bad for doing it because
No.
it's essentially gossip.
Yeah, but you shouldn't. I mean, I don't think that anyone who reads that when it's put out there by a news operation needs to feel guilty about it. But, you know, the fact is that this is going to leave a lasting stain on her. And what she has said now is that she plans to try to advance the public conversation about shaming issues, sexual shaming in particular, of women. And I think that's a conversation that really needs to be had. We need to start drawing some lines and be thinking really ethically about what we are doing to someone when we put them in that position.
Thanks for bringing this. So this is great.
Check out in today's Des Moines Register, page 15A.
Very good.
Rekha's column. It is 6
Thank
minutes
you.
before 9 o'clock. We'll be right back. This is